Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are looking at a really bold experiment coming out of the Indian state of Kerala. They're trying to solve a puzzle, really. How do you protect centuries of tradition while at the same time fueling the super fast-paced world of modern innovation? Let's jump in.
And that right there is the core question. It's a huge dilemma. Kerala is trying to answer it with a brand new draft policy on intellectual property. And, this is a plan that could have global implications if they actually get it right. So let's see what they're up to.
So, to really get a handle on how ambitious this is, we first need to understand why the old way of doing things, well, it just isn't cutting it anymore. The world has changed so much, and with it, the value of knowledge itself.
Okay, so the state's last policy was from way back in 2008. And look, it was a decent start. It was mostly about just documenting ideas. But today's world, it demands way, way more. We're talking about a complex global innovation landscape that needs active commercialization, that needs a fully integrated statewide system. The old policy just wasn't built for that.
And this isn't just a game of catch-up. Not at all. Kerala has this really unique mix of assets. You've got high literacy rates and modern research labs sitting right alongside a deep, powerful base of traditional knowledge, incredible biodiversity, and super vibrant local arts. It's basically a gold mine of both old and new knowledge.
So, what's the new solution? Let's take a closer look at this ambitious blueprint they've proposed for 2025. The whole idea is to unite these two very different worlds under a single powerful strategy.
The core idea, the big game changer, is this holistic vision. For the very first time, we have one policy that treats modern patents, what we call IPR, and ancient community wisdom, or TK, as two sides of the very same coin. It's a unified approach to protecting and, importantly, profiting from all kinds of knowledge. Now, to make this vision a reality, the policy doesn't just throw out a few suggestions. No, it actually proposes building a whole new ecosystem of specialized institutions, and each one has a very clear mission. First up, you have Mission IPR. The best way to think of this is like the central nervous system for the entire operation. It's going to coordinate everything, from filing patents to supporting innovators and, crucially, turning those ideas into commercial products. Then there's the IPR Academy. Its goal is to build what you might call IP literacy, right from the ground up. It's basically a training ground designed to create a real culture of innovation by teaching everyone, from students to business leaders, about the value of their ideas. And this next part really shows the protective side of the policy. It's called the Traditional Knowledge Docketing System, or TKDS, and it acts like a digital vault. It documents all this community's wisdom to create a clear record, which helps prevent other people from stealing it or trying to patent it as their own. What's really critical here is that the policy recognizes you can't just slap standard patent law onto knowledge that's been held by a community for generations. It just doesn't fit. So it calls for what's known as a sui generis framework. It's a legal term, and it just means a custom-built system designed specifically to protect this unique type of knowledge. So when you look at it on paper, this blueprint is pretty impressive. It has some very clear strengths that really mark it as a truly modern approach to handling intellectual property. What really stands out here is how all these strengths are designed to work together. See, this isn't just a defensive policy that's about protecting old ideas. It's about creating a structured system, embedding education from a young age, and really focusing on creating economic value. The goal is to build a complete, self-sustaining ecosystem for innovation. But, a great blueprint always has to face the test of reality. And this policy, for all its strengths, has some really critical, unanswered questions and some pretty significant hurdles to overcome. And listen, these aren't minor details. We're talking big questions, like where's the money and the expertise going to come from? How do you make sure communities give genuine consent and aren't just being told what's going to happen? And what about that tricky balance between making money and making sure the public can still access important knowledge? These are major roadblocks that could decide if this whole thing works or not. Okay, so let's bring this down to earth. What does this policy actually mean for people on the ground? The innovators, the community elders, the students. If you're an entrepreneur or you're running a startup, this could be fantastic. It means more support from the state to get your idea patented and out to market. But there's a catch. The policy encourages universities and public groups to hold on to more of the IP rights from the research they fund. So innovators are going to have to read their contracts very, very carefully. For Indigenous and traditional communities, this offers a really powerful new tool to protect their knowledge from being stolen or misused. But it also introduces a serious risk, the commodification of knowledge that might be considered sacred. Its success is going to depend entirely on building trust and making sure the whole process is transparent. And for the next generation, well, this is a long-term investment. By putting IP education right into the school curriculum, the big idea is to make young Keralagites fluent in the language of creativity, rights, and innovation right from an early age. And all of this brings us to the final, and maybe the most important question of all. Is this a revolutionary blueprint for the future, or is it just wishful thinking? This one sentence from the analysis really just hits the nail on the head. A policy is just words on paper, right? The real test, the real challenge is turning those words into action. So ultimately, the success of this whole thing rests on whether these ambitious plans can be translated into real, tangible, and equitable action. The big question remains, can Kerala really build a bridge between its incredible past and its innovative future? I can tell you this, the world will be watching. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.